Hello and welcome to Tech Deals, part 4 of the Ryzen 5 1600X build video series giveaway. There's only a few more days left to enter. Be sure to enter using the link in the description below if you want to win this wonderful computer. This video is game performance review. 8 games benchmarked. I'm going to show the charts and the built-in benchmarks in just a minute. But before we do that, I do want to talk to you about a couple of changes I recommend that you make. Now, I talked about these in the longer videos before, but they're long and may have been missed, so I'm going to briefly mention the graphics card. Now, all the game benchmarks you're about to see are based on the RX 570 4GB graphics card, but that card is not purchasable for reasonable prices. If you're actually interested in building this machine, don't buy one of those cards. They're currently too expensive. Buy a GTX 1060 3GB card. It's almost exactly the same performance, plus or minus just a little bit. Now, I'm going to talk about the CPU as well in a minute, but first I want to talk about this video's sponsor, LastPass. LastPass is convenient and secure. It is an online vault for all of your online passwords. They have a mobile application. They have a desktop application. It is very easy to use. In fact, let me show you the interface here real quick. Here you can see the LastPass app on my iPhone 6. It is compatible with Touch ID for easy login. Now, there are 4 tabs across the bottom: Vault, Browser, Security, and Settings. In the Security tab, you have the option to generate a strong new password for use on any site. It can be between 4 and 64 characters, and you do have the option to turn on and off the various sites, such as special characters and numbers that some sites require and some sites actually prohibit. You do have the option to install a LastPass extension into Safari and Chrome on your mobile device as well, and the Chrome extension exists on the desktop to automatically insert your passwords and to save and generate new passwords for you as you browse around the web. LastPass Free stores all of your passwords safe and secure in the online vault, accessible by your master password or your fingerprint ID on a device with a fingerprint reader. Very easy to use. Check it out in the link in the description below. I'm a LastPass user. I've been using it for a while now, and I can definitely give it 2 thumbs up. Coming back to the CPU choices, we put a Ryzen 5 1600X CPU. That is a 6-core, 12-thread processor. Would I personally buy a 1600X? Not really. I'd buy a Ryzen 5 1600, use the included Wraithspire cooler, set it to 3.7 GHz fixed in the B350 motherboard BIOS, and be a very happy camper, no problem. However, not everybody's okay overclocking. You might not be comfortable with it. If you want the level of performance you're about to see and you don't want to overclock, then buying a 1600X and running it at stock speeds out of the box is the way to do that. Now, it runs at 3.7 on all 6 cores out of the box. It turbos to 4.0 and will actually XFR auto overclock itself beyond 4 GHz at stock settings. If you manually overclock it, XFR goes away. Now, you might get 4 GHz out of it, but you're going to have to put a decent cooler on it, and you're going to have to mess around with voltage settings. Not everybody wants to do that. If you do, well, by all means. But if you buy a 1600X and you put a Hyper 212 Evo for about $25 on it, you can get the same performance you're about to see out of the box, or buy a 1600, set it to 3.7, and again, it'll be exactly what you're about to see. For $209, which is the current going rate of a Ryzen 5 1600, that is an incredible value for the money. Now, something that we didn't know about when the first 3 videos on this video series were made is Coffee Lake. Coffee Lake has now been officially announced, launching October 5th. The i7 8700K, 6 cores, 12 threads, just like Ryzen 5 1600 and 1600X. For $359, however, it's quite a bit more expensive, and no coolers included, and a Z370 motherboard will be required, but it is faster. 4.7 GHz turbo speed out of the box with an all-core turbo speed of 4.3 GHz on all 6 cores without overclocking required. 5 GHz is possible with sufficient cooling, but that has entered a completely different price bracket. If you're looking to build a machine for about $1,000, you'll be hard-pressed to put a Z370, a good cooler, and that CPU in there, and leave room for a good graphics card and all the other components you're going to want. It's doable, but it's tight. A Ryzen 5 1600 will let you build a very nice system with great components for less than $1,000 if that's your goal. One quick note back about graphics cards, because inevitably somebody's going to ask this. What about a GTX 1050 Ti? They're about $150. No, they're almost half the performance of the 1060 3 gig for only 25% less. The 1050 Ti exists for computers that can't take a 6-pin PCI Express power connector. No more and no less. If you can take a 6-pin connector, jump up to the 1060, worth every penny. Then the next question is, what about the 6 gigabyte card? Now I know a lot of people go, well, it's only got 3 gigs. Is that really enough? Don't you really need 6 gigabytes? No, at 1080p you really don't. Sure, there are going to be some games where ultra detail is not going to run in 3 gigs of VRAM. Ghost Recon Wildlands requires more than 3 gigabytes of VRAM to play at ultra detail. So what? Ultra detail won't run on either the 6 or the 3 gigabyte card because it doesn't have the performance for it. You need a GTX 1080 to play Ghost Recon Wildlands at ultra, even at 1080p. So while it's nice to say, well, sure, the extra VRAM will help you at ultra detail, the games that need it won't play on a 1060 anyway, so it's largely a moot point. At high detail, all the current games on the market, at least the ones I've tested, play just fine in 3 gigabytes of VRAM. Now, if you can find a 1060 for under $250, it might be worth considering. But when I filmed this video, $270 to $290 was the going price point of the 6 gigabyte cards. There was no way in the world it is worth $80 more, because these are $200 right now. It is worth $80 more to add 10% more performance and 3 gigs of VRAM. So my recommendation is the 3 gigabyte card for value for the money. If by chance you just aren't happy with the solution and you want more, right now in September of 2017, skip everything and go all the way to the GTX 1080. They're $500 to be sure, but it's the only option above this that makes financial sense in terms of performance for the dollar. The 1070s are still a little bit expensive. The RX Vega 56s are $500, which makes no sense because the 1080 beats them. And so really between the $200 1060 3 gig card and the $500 GTX 1080, there really isn't a lot to buy at the moment. I'd skip everything in the middle and buy one of those two cards. Now let's get on to the benchmarks. As I said before, I'm going to show you the built-in benchmarks to 8 different games. I also have live gameplay of even more games than just this recorded on this machine, but I'm not going to show them here because this would be a 2-hour video and nobody wants to watch that. Instead, there will be a link down in the video description below to Tech Deals Gaming, my gaming channel where I post all of my live gameplay benchmarks. Each game gets its own video. My goal is to make each video between 5 and 10 minutes long. You actually get to see the game being played, the real-time performance. I'll have charts in it and commentary as to my experience playing each game. There'll be a playlist, which is what that link will take you to, and then you can actually just watch the games you're interested. That way you don't have to weed through a 2-hour-long video with a bunch of games tested. You could just look down the list and watch the ones that are most interesting to you. Now, on to the benchmarks. And there you have the benchmark results. I hope that was interesting and informative. As I said before, you can get the exact same results by buying a Ryzen 5 1600 and overclocking it to 3.7 fixed. And of course, you can also get the same results by buying a 1060 3GB card. Like this video if you like it, share it with your friends if you loved it. Remember to subscribe to my channel with the big huge red button directly below. Questions and comments in the comment section. And as always, please check out the video description. The link to LastPass, my sponsor for this video, will be down there. I use LastPass. You should give it a try as well. It's a free download. Most of its features are completely free. There's a premium option. It's a couple of dollars, but if you're interested in that, check it out. But frankly, for most people, the free version is enough. And then of course, the link to the giveaway and all the parts used in this build video series will be down there as well. And then my links to Twitter, Twitch, and Patreon will be down there as well. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video.